Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag live if you're watching live. Hashtag replay if you're on replay. You know, in my experience in so many different areas of my life, I can really see some of my behavioral patterns that have been so ingrained in me that, at the most inopportune times where I think, I've got this, I got this down, I've kind of overcome these things, they still pop up. And a lot of it is about the difficulty of certain things. It could be the most innocent thing, it could be the most, monumental thing, it could be all different things. It's like, oh God, that's so hard, right? And I always remind myself, and I say this statement, it's hard until it isn't. And I say this sometimes to clients, I'll say this to, people, I'll say this in posts, I'll say this in a variety of different ways. Everything is always difficult until it isn't. And I think for a lot of us, for most of us, maybe all of us that have walked this great planet, that, our number one job is to survive in any which way we can. And we will develop behavioral patterns. We will develop a mindset. We will develop a story in our head that will do just that. It's just to survive. And, hashtag me if you've ever been in this mode, or you've ever actually said this out loud, I'm just in survival mode. That's a difficult place to be because, yes, the idea is to survive to the next day. In the NCAA tournament, they say survive and advance. But when we're constantly in this survival mode of just making it to the next day, are we really present, A, and B, are we really living up to our greatest potential? And that could be argued. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have went through a lot of things, traumatic things, atrocities, sexual abuse, family members dying, physical issues and limitations, challenges, etc. I mean, it just runs the gamut, right? But through those experiences, we've developed, all of us, at every level, no matter how large or small, we've developed these different stories about ourselves. And this story gets told out, gets repeated inside of our brain to then develop these different behavioral patterns to keep ourselves safe and keep ourselves in survival mode. So at what point, no matter how large or small your trauma has been, at what point do we actually say enough is enough? Yes, this is what happened, but I'm not going to allow what happened to create a different story about myself as I move through life. And a lot of this happens unconsciously, because there's so much in this world that we can meditate or sedate ourselves with. Entertainment, this phone that I'm on right now, TV, sports, relationships with other people, etc., etc. There's so much to divert our attention away from ourselves. And then we've got society pushing this narrative down our throat that, we're selfish by nature. Well, you know what? Fuck it. We should be selfish by nature. And there's a definition between being selfish, okay, and actually giving a shit about yourself. And I think that's a fine line, but it's also a line that should be crossed. Because you know what? It isn't just about us serving other people. We also got to serve ourselves. And that story that's constantly put into this brain over and over and over again that just basically says this: you're not enough. So I'm going to develop all these behavioral patterns around that fact to keep you safe, to keep you away from actually dipping your feet into the water of the shit that you've been through, so that you're safe and that you play it safe and that you never really know yourself. And I hope this makes sense, but you know, at the end of the day, it's always going to be hard until it isn't. And I learned this lesson very early on as a young boy, that if I just took it head on, learning how to ride a bicycle, I was scared to death, right? I didn't want to fall. I didn't want to fail. I didn't want people to make fun of me. I didn't want to scrape my knees. I didn't want to do this, this, and this, right? But at that moment, it's like, hey, get yourself on the bike and move. And what I thought was like climbing Mount Everest ended up being the easiest thing in the world. Now, that's a very simple comparison that most of you are probably rolling your eyes at, because you've been through so many different things in your life that are so much more monumental than that, and could be at some point in juncture detrimental than that. But still, the same energy that existed in me riding that bicycle is the same energy that we have to do to take on the things that are playing out in this mind and telling us that we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't be this, we can't be that, we can't face this, we can't face that, because it's too hard, it's too detrimental, it's too fucking scary. But when you do the fucking scary things, that's what brings the best out in you. It's always going to be hard until it isn't. Through compassion and through love, because we're all sentient beings. We're all lovable people at our internal core. And through all of that, we can really find ourselves. And it's really sometimes just about asking the right questions and being in the right environment where we feel safe enough to do it. And I'd like to help you with that. #value if you found value in this video. Buff Gandhi.